Hey sports card fans, it's John Boggs fan. I decided to start a new series of videos on my channel taking a look at the top 10 most valuable cards of a particular vintage set. So this video is starting off with the 1980 Topps set, and future videos will be going back in time. So the next video will be taking a look at the 1979 set and so on. Now, I had to come up with a way to determine the value or price of a card. So one, I'm looking at PSA graded copies. Two, I'm using VCP average prices for a particular grade. Now, when it comes to which grade of the card I'm going to take a look at, it's not necessarily going to be the highest known grade of a particular card. The reason why I decided to do that is some of these sets, there may be a PSA 9 or 10 where there's only one or two or a small handful that have been graded at that high level, and that may tend to skew values of that particular card just because of the scarcity of that grade. So my minimum criteria is, for the highest grade of a particular card, there has to be at least a population of 50. That way, a population of 50, they're not super rare. You may be able to find them on eBay or auction houses without a whole lot of effort. Maybe a couple come up for sale in a given year. So they're not too rare. So these are, I guess, more plentiful copies that are out there. And I'm not looking at all-time high prices because, with the COVID bubble and everything, so these aren't all-time high sales. These are current prices of cards in a particular grade. And you'll see what I mean as I go through the top 10 list from 1980. So let's go take a look at the list. Starting off at number 10, bit of a surprise, the Eddie Murray found its way into the top 10. In a PSA 10, there are 57 copies, so it made that criteria. The average VCP price of a PSA 10 Eddie Murray is $569. At number 9, we have the Mike Schmidt. In a PSA 10, there are 195 copies. The average VCP price, $583. At number 8, we have the Tom Seaver. Also in a PSA 10, there's a population of 68. The average VCP price for those PSA 10s, $600. At number 7, the Johnny Bench. In a PSA 10, there are 83 copies, and the current average VCP price of those PSA 10s is $618. At number 6, a surprise to the top 10 list as well, at least for me, is the Jim Rice. Those PSA 10s, there are 51 copies, so it did meet my minimum criteria of at least a population of 50. The current average VCP price for a PSA 10 Jim Rice, $660. Coming in at number 5, we have the first four-figure card from the 1980 Topps set, the Reggie Jackson. In a PSA 10, there are 107 copies. The current average VCP price for those PSA 10s is $1,055. Coming in at number 4, we have Ozzie Smith's second-year card. In a PSA 10, there are 88 copies. The current average VCP price, $1,267. Now, number 3 is a surprise, and you may or may not agree with how I am doing this, but card number 3 is the Rickey Henderson rookie card. Now, many of you, I'm sure, thought that the Rickey Henderson rookie would be the #1 most valuable card from 1980. Now, if you're talking about PSA 10 copies, you would be absolutely right. I think PSA 10 copies are in the 6 figures. But based on my criteria and there only being 26 known PSA 10 copies, I went with the PSA 9. Now, there are 2,158 PSA 9s. The current average VCP price is $1,663, good for only number 3 on my top 10 list. At number 2 is a card that is also at that same average VCP price, the Pete Rose. In a PSA 10, there are 92 copies, and again, currently has the same average VCP price as the PSA 9 Rickey Henderson rookie. All right, do you have a guess now at what card may be the #1 most valuable card from the 1980 set based on my criteria? It's the George Brett. In a PSA 10, there are 95 copies, and those PSA 10s are currently selling for $1,800. Well, there you go, the top 10 most valuable 1980 Topps baseball cards. Interesting players that made the list, and of course, the Rickey Henderson was not the most valuable based on the criteria that I set. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments of some of the cards that did make the top 10 list. Do you think they should be there? Do you think other cards should be higher, lower on that list? Again, this is based on actual sales of VCP pricing information. So that's what the market says these cards are going for at those particular grades. So again, would love to know your comments, not just on the top 10 from 1980, but this series in general. Let me know what you think about it. With that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.